With a series of health struggles, chaotic relationships, and trouble at work, there's no doubt that Shannen Doherty's all-too-short life was filled with plenty of tragedy. Shannen Doherty established a reputation as a bit of a bad girl early in her career, as she frequently partied hard and wasn't afraid to speak her mind when someone crossed her. Things really got out of control during her time on Beverly Hills 90210 when she was 18 and living with a much older boyfriend. As she admitted to People magazine in 1992, "I was drinking up a storm. Cocaine was something that I tried and didn't really like. It was more the lifestyle I was into. Every single night I was out clubbing and drinking. It was a bad scene." Doherty's volatile relationship came to an end after her boyfriend slapped her, and she knew that she had to leave, though she struggled to stay out of trouble in the following years. When she was charged with driving under the influence in her 20s, it was a real wake-up call.
It's the most humiliating, embarrassing, disgraceful moment of my life. It's shameful.
A DUI wasn't Doherty's only or first brush with the law. Back in the early 90s, she was in a relationship with Dean Factor, an heir to the cosmetics brand Max Factor. They actually got engaged, but the relationship ended acrimoniously in 1993 when Factor filed for a restraining order. He reportedly feared for his safety as he alleged that Doherty had been violent and threatened him. The situation was eventually settled out of court as Factor and Doherty reached an agreement after the petition was filed. And in 1992, Doherty got into another dust-up, this time with actor Bonita Money in a Los Angeles nightclub. The scrap allegedly took place after Doherty's date and 90210 co-star Brian Austin Green stood on the toes of Money's boyfriend. Doherty was struck in the face, and both she and Money were cited for misdemeanor battery. Green came to her defense though, insisting to Entertainment Weekly. Shannen did nothing and she was the bad girl. The other person totally started it. 5 years later, Doherty was arrested following another incident at a West Hollywood bar as she allegedly smashed a beer bottle on a car window. She was ultimately able to plead no contest to a vandalism charge and had a more serious accusation of assault with a deadly weapon dropped. During her time on 90210, Doherty developed a reputation for being difficult to work with. As executive producer Charles Rosen told Entertainment Weekly in 2000, her lateness was appalling, and she had a callous attitude and an indifference. Doherty also had a long-running feud with her co-star Jenny Garth that reportedly descended into violence on at least one occasion.
So who won that fight?
The guys held us back, so we
Yes.
never actually...
Do you remember that?
I do, but I stayed in my dressing room shaking.
Ultimately, Doherty left the show in 1994 after the 4th season, but she saw her time on 90210 differently, as she insists that she was someone who was prepared to defend herself and ensure that she was heard. As she told Rolling Stone in 1992, "If you consider difficult being a strong woman who sticks up for herself, yeah, I admit to it. I'm open to different ideas, but if you get on my bad side and don't listen to me, and you don't treat me with as much respect as you treat a man, you've got a problem." Doherty got married for the first time in 1993 to actor and singer Ashley Hamilton. They'd been dating for just a few weeks before they tied the knot. She was only 22, while he was just 18. Her co-stars on 90210 didn't exactly have much faith in the relationship, as they reportedly bet on whether or not the marriage would make it to 10 weeks. The wedding took place in Doherty's garden on September 24th, and then they flew to New York a few hours later so that she could host Saturday Night Live. The marriage ultimately lasted only 5 months, and Doherty has since opened up about how difficult the experience was. During an episode of her Let's Be Clear podcast in 2024, she said that Hamilton was a drug addict and she spent much of her time trying to prevent him from acquiring more drugs. She filed for a divorce in April 1994, citing irreconcilable differences. In addition to her legal troubles and incidents with her coworkers, Doherty also dealt with a series of medical issues. In 1999, she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. As she admitted to Star magazine that year, "It can kind of mess with you. There's nothing sexy about women saying, 'I've got to go to the bathroom right now.'" Crohn's is a type of inflammatory bowel disease in which the digestive tract becomes swollen and irritated. Symptoms are especially unpleasant as they can include abdominal pain, diarrhea, weight loss, and rectal bleeding. It's a lifelong condition that currently has no known cure. There are a variety of treatments that can help people with Crohn's live a regular life, and some people don't experience symptoms for several years at a time, though flare-ups can come out of nowhere. After her exit from 90210, Doherty found work harder to come by. She had a starring role in the 1995 comedy movie Mallrats, but she believed that it killed her big screen career as it was a box office failure. She then appeared in a string of made-for-TV movies until she was cast in a new show called Charmed, which premiered on the WB in 1998. She portrayed Prue Halliwell, the eldest of 3 witch sisters who set out to protect the world from evil, but then she left that show after Prue was killed in the season 3 finale.
I don't understand why magic can't fix this. Why I can't bring Prue back? It's not like we haven't cheated death before.
Producers reportedly parted ways with Doherty because of her fractious relationship with her co-star Alyssa Milano. Things got so bad that Milano reportedly approached the creators to demand that they either fire her or Doherty. The official story was that Doherty left of her own accord, but she later revealed that that was bogus. As she explained on an episode of her podcast, "My representatives, I remember them looking at me at the time and said, no, your career won't survive another firing, so we're just going to say that you chose to leave. I remember I started laughing, going, who's going to believe that I'm crazy enough to leave a hit show?" Doherty got married for a second time in 2002 to poker player Rick Solomon, who would later become infamous for his sex tape with Paris Hilton. The marriage was ultimately annulled after just 9 months. Doherty then admitted to Details magazine that she hadn't always made the best choices when it came to choosing a partner. As she put it, "I was madly in love. It was a really hard marriage. When it ended, it was a heart-crushing thing." In 2024, Solomon appeared on an episode of Doherty's podcast as they discussed why their marriage ended so quickly. The romance emerged from a conversation in a car ride, and then they headed to Las Vegas for a wedding without any guests. Furthermore, Solomon had a drug problem that negatively impacted their relationship.
I'm very proud that I was married to you. I love you a lot.
In 2010, Doherty competed on the 10th season of Dancing with the Stars, although she ended up being eliminated first. However, she still considered it an achievement because it allowed her father Tom to see her perform. A year earlier, he had suffered a stroke and could no longer speak. As Doherty revealed to Us Weekly, it was beyond emotional. "It was amazing to have him here. I had eye connection with him throughout my routine, and to see the pride and the love in his face was overwhelming to me. He is determined to come back every Monday, and it's been great for him tonight." Sadly, this would be one of Doherty's last memories with her dad, as he died that November. In 2023, she opened up about how much she missed him by writing on Instagram. "This year has been one for the books, and I desperately wish he was here to help guide me. He always gave me the strength I needed to do what needed to be done." One of the most tragic moments in Doherty's life happened in March 2015 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, which had already spread to her lymph nodes. Her management firm had allowed her health insurance to lapse the year before, a situation that led to the cancer being diagnosed later than it should have been. The presence of the cancer in Doherty's lymph nodes meant that aggressive treatment was necessary, so she underwent a mastectomy along with radiotherapy and chemotherapy. By 2017, the cancer was in remission. However, it returned in 2019 and was more advanced than before. By 2023, it had spread to her brain.
It's a bitter pill to swallow in a lot of ways.
In 2018, Doherty's house was destroyed by the Woolsey Fire, which spread across the Santa Monica area in California, burning around 100,000 acres over the course of 2 weeks. Doherty was far from the only one in harm's way, as thousands of buildings were damaged or destroyed. The actress shared how she was doing in the wake of the tragedy by writing on Instagram, "I'm devastated by all that's happening. My heart is ripped apart." Doherty ended up taking her insurer, State Farm, to court in order to force the company to pay out for the damage. A jury ultimately agreed with her case that State Farm had failed to pay an adequate amount for no justifiable reason. They awarded her $6.3 million to cover the destruction of her home as well as legal fees and emotional distress. Doherty had long been open about her desire to start a family. However, her cancer treatment made it essentially impossible for her to get pregnant. As she admitted to Health magazine in 2019, "The hormones I went on threw my body into menopause instantly." Doherty was unwilling to take estrogen as it potentially carries an increased risk of the cancer recurring. She considered alternatives like adoption and surrogacy, but she wanted to be sure that her cancer was gone for good before committing to a family. Although, as she admitted, "But there's fear there. Am I going to last 5 years? 10 years? I certainly wouldn't want my 10-year-old burying a mother. I've always wanted a kid, but maybe I'm supposed to mother in a different way."
Not only did I want a child for myself, but I wanted it for my husband. I wanted it for our marriage.
Doherty got married for a third time in 2011 to photographer Kurt Iswarienko after they met at a shoot for a magazine cover. She had actually specifically requested him after seeing his previous work. 2 months later, they met up again for work and immediately felt that they were compatible and that the timing was right. As she told PR.com in 2012, "It was an instant thing, and we were together from that point on." This marriage lasted significantly longer than Doherty's first two, but she and Iswarienko ultimately ended up getting divorced in 2024. She later claimed that he was purposely withholding financial information to delay the divorce until she died from cancer, although he strenuously denied that. They ended up reaching an agreement for the divorce just 1 day before her death. Doherty ultimately succumbed to her cancer on July 13, 2024 at the age of 53. The sad news was met with an outpouring of grief from her former colleagues, including Alyssa Milano, who told People, "It's no secret that Shannen and I had a complicated relationship, but at its core was someone I deeply respected and was in awe of. She was a talented actress beloved by many, and the world is less without her. My condolences to all who loved her." Her other charmed co-star, Rose McGowan, called her a soft-hearted badass as there ever was, while Tori Spelling wrote on Instagram, "She was a rebel in an era when most women didn't feel comfortable being strong." And Jenny Garth also took to Instagram to call her one of the strongest people I have ever known.